We're back and we're on the final episode on security and technology, and we have Derek Ramsey, a senior, to talk about this. He runs and operates and has been the pioneer in this industry in security technologies. He runs the Guard All. Now, not for anything else, there needs to be an understanding about what you require. Security, yeah, I need security. What kind of security do you need? Now, there has to be a holistic approach to understanding what one requires. If you notice, there are many real CCTV cameras everywhere. My problem is, do each and every one CCTV cameras, do they actually talk to each other? Does the person behind it understand what he is seeing? Or are they there for just display? Derek, how are do we have enough? For example, let's look at Makati Commercial Center, one of the more dense commercial hubs, because being right in the middle of the tourist hub. Do we have enough? I know Ayala is your client, and they're quite happy with you. I've heard that from the security department. But Ayala is not the only operator. You've got the hotels. You've got the condotels. You've got, of course, the commercial center. Then you've got the individual buildings that are either both all residential or all commercial. Then you have the parks. Then you even have one or two churches here and there. And then right beside it, you have Barangay San Lorenzo, which is engulfed. Do we have enough technology systems in place today to protect all these tourists that come to this hub? These are not just foreign tourists. These are tourists that come from Quezon City, Pampanga, all the way from Isabela, all the way from Mindanao. And they come here, they stay 1 day or 2 days here, probably ride a plane to fly out somewhere, and vice versa. Do we have enough, and are you satisfied?
The CCTV that I've seen in and around the Makati area is pretty much the same as other areas.
Which is poor.
The MMDA.
That's been criticized very heavily.
Which, the MMDA?
The MMDA, some of them, because they can't seem to control the traffic in spite of all that CCTV.
Well, a camera can't control traffic.
Well, true.
The cameras that they've got with the MMDA are used as a tool for them to try and improve. Now, for anybody to think that Metro Manila's traffic problem can be solved overnight is not living in the real world.
Okay.
You know, unfortunately, you've got a fairly old city. The majority of streets are just two-lane streets.
Too small.
You know, a lot of people ask me...
But the UK is the same problem. They even have smaller streets. England, London has smaller streets.
The UK has a lot more to spend on this type of thing.
All right.
You know, one analogy that really surprised me is that if you live in the suburbs of London and you travel on the underground or by bus to central London, they worked it out, and I don't know how these academics do it, but they worked it out that you're on CCTV 394 times a day.
Jesus.
Now, in addition to that, there is a congestion area in the centre of London, and you're quite right, Harry, this is what you were saying, even London couldn't solve their problem. Well, the only way they could take it to the next level to at least try and contain their traffic problem in the centre of London was to stop vehicles going in there or make it so expensive that people didn't want. So they go to the underground station in the outlying areas and use the public transportation. And funnily enough, I've been back to London once in the last 35 years, and I got myself a congestion fine ticket.
Well, in Singapore, that's what they do. They charge you $10 when you go in the CBD.
£12 in England. And if you don't pay it within the next day, I think it goes up to £100.
Oh my God.
Mine went up to 200 and something pounds.
So you learn very quickly.
Yes.
In this area, let's just, Makati, do we have enough, and are these telecommunication devices, the technology that comes with the security, do they see each other? Do they talk to each other?
I haven't been privy to look at their control room, so I can't answer you honestly.
But should there be a control room, a central control room?
Absolutely. And it should work. When I've been asked to design systems, it should work with the emergency services. as I
Very good
understand at
point.
the
You're
moment,
right, you're
why shouldn't the fire brigade? Why shouldn't the ambulances? Why shouldn't medics?
Even the police.
The police.
The
Why
medics.
shouldn't they all have access to this system? It doesn't cost much more money to do that. It's only a link.
And they don't link, they don't talk to each other. They
Not,
don't see each other.
not to my knowledge.
Because if there's an incident, for example here, you go to a police station, there's an incident, when you report an incident, they give you a pen and paper and you write in this logbook and you write in Tagalog or English, and it makes me wonder, who gets to read that? Then I realize, when there is a crime and it accelerates or it progresses into court, that's when that logbook becomes material. They go back to it, yes, it was reported here, they make a copy of it. But if just for study, quick analysis, or even just basic data mining, nobody gets to look at it. It's too tedious.
Well,
We
you
don't
know,
see each other, do we, here? That's the problem.
I guess that's a problem that the PNP are living with at the moment, and you know.
But they see this as a problem.
Absolutely, you get jealousies amongst different government departments, and therefore that's why they won't share information.
Jealousy?
This,
That's a ridiculous
Harry,
word.
it happens all over the world. Take it from me. Let's look at the United States with the CIA and the special.
And the FBI, yeah.
and
They
what
hide
happened
from each
there.
other.
I mean, you know, they did a full inquiry after 9/11, and this is basically what came out. The FBI wouldn't tell the special services, wouldn't tell the CIA. They were all keeping their own pieces of information.
That's incorrect, isn't it?
It's incorrect, but that's how things have grown up.
Is that the way we are here? We have the Philippine National Police. The Western people will not talk to the Eastern people.
I find the police here react fairly well once they've been criticized. Let's take carnapping.
Yes. Rampant.
No more.
Now no more. Yeah, you don't hear about it as much.
So why doesn't anybody say well done to the PNP? It was rampant 5 years ago. Rampant. Now you very rarely. It's still happening.
Yes,
and
it's still
unfortunately
happening.
now most of it is only at gunpoint.
Yes, and there's robbery, not just the car. It's really...
There's still a lot of street robberies in Makati and other places in Metro Manila. This is where your street cameras can really help. But you know, they've got to be used properly. You can't tell me. I don't think I should name a specific area, but there's an area quite near to here where, to my knowledge, regularly
There's
tourists, foreign tourists particularly, are robbed or drugged.
The Havana area, I can tell you where it is.
Well,
it's
I'm-
right in the middle of the Makati Commercial Center. No,
How
because
can that happen?
but you have so many people soliciting other people, whether they be prostitutes, mendicants, or just the guy in the street trying to make a buck, you know, so he can go for another drink. You know, you have Tom, Dick, and Harry right there in the street, and you've got all the different foreigners coming in, unassuming that this is what's happening. And I see it right there. So the question goes back, are we secured enough with the technology we already know? I mean, at least in Makati, considering it's the premier city.
I've, you know, we do a lot of work with embassies here. We do a lot of work with the high-rise buildings.
They seem fairly secured, I noticed.
They generally are. I don't think they've always gone through all of the aspects of it. You know, I mean, we used to have a joke some time ago. I'd have an ID card, and on the ID card was a picture of a dog. And I never, ever once, when I gave it to a guard at a building, got stopped.
It's a picture of a dog.
I would write my name as woof woof.
Woof
or
woof.
Things like
and
this.
you give it, go in.
So, you know, those sort of things, access to buildings should be fairly free. You know, if I want to get into a building to do crime, it's not difficult. It really is not difficult. You
But
know,
we can make it
And having a
difficult.
guard,
We can.
I think it should be at the level of each part of that building.
Or depending where you're going to give access to.
Well, you know, but most offices now will have access control. I think when I came in your corridor, I saw on the
Yes.
wall an access.
Every door.
So, you know, in my own offices, every
have
one
it.
of my offices, my guys have to present a card. Number one, I know who's about and what
Yeah.
time they were there. It's a great
Yeah.
investigative tool.
It is, isn't
You know,
it?
if
Yeah.
something's stolen
It
in an office,
identifies you.
I know who was in that office at what time and what time they left, what time they entered. So
Very good point.
access control has got tremendous value for anybody who's responsible for multiple areas. You know, it can do timekeeping.
As well.
And if you use biometric for your timekeeping, no more can you have the Bundy card where, it's your turn today, Harry, you book on all 6 of us.
Yes.
And you go out with a card, yeah?
Yeah, they do that.
You can't do that anymore with access control and
With your finger.
yeah. So
That's true. Derek, we're at the last 3 minutes. You know, sitting with you for a whole hour doesn't seem like it is. It's like there's so many more questions I want to bring up to you. I wanted to bring up your past. Your you gave me the other day. You were telling me how quickly in 3 different towns in the UK when you were much younger, when you were still a constable, and when the 3 towns started talking to each other, how you were able to drop crime by basic profiling, data mining, and you're able to drop it to even more than 50%, meaning communication. That's all that it means. Well, today communication is the word.
sharing of information.
Sharing of information, which is profiling as well. It's now the new term, profiling. But are we doing this? We don't know. Anyway, we have to end the show. How about a 1-minute, 2-minute exit message for our viewers? What would be your message?
Well, I'd probably like to sell my company, but I don't think that would be right.
No, why not? But tell
No,
them
no,
why your company. Why your company?
Security is something that, as I say, gives you peace of mind. You know, too many people think about it as being expensive. People think about it as being intrusive. You know, often when we put an access control, why do I have to be registered when I go through this door or whatever? You've got to sell it to the people to let them know it's for their benefit. If we got an earthquake or we got a fire in the building, an access control system would tell me how many people are in that building. So when I get you outside to the square, wherever the meeting point is, I know how many people I've got to account for. And if there's only 274 when there should be 278, maybe because of that, I can save 2 people's lives. Security, people ring me up. How much to secure my house? I have no idea, I will tell them. Because I don't. I don't know their circumstances. I don't know the size of their house. I don't know how I'm going to make a system that is acceptable to them. You know, Dad comes home at drunk 2 o'clock in the morning and sets off all the bells and whistles. That system's not going to be used for long.
That's right.
So, you know, if he's got a beautiful wife and she's got a nice garden that's overlooked by other areas, I might think about giving her a panic button on her wrist or around her neck. There's so many things to think about.
Okay. Thank you very much, Derek. We're going to have to end the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in touch and know more and you want to secure yourself, your company, your manufacturing, whatever, get in touch with GuardAll. I'm sure you can find that on the internet. Just Google it or World Wide Web. I'm sure it's on there, right? GuardAll.
Correct, yes.
And from there, look for the Philippine company if there are international companies called GuardAll. Or you can get in touch with us and I can put you directly on to Derek. The difference with security is the ability to understand. Understanding is the ability to share communication. And for our security services to actually communicate and see each other. Technology can only work if we know how to use the technology to our advantage, not technology to be displayed. It's like putting the yellow X boxes. You notice how all over the streets we have X boxes, but nobody knows how it works or follows the rules. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called discipline. We're going back to that one virtue we all seem to not have. Maybe one day we will begin to understand it, and then from there maybe we can move forward. Right now, let's just talk quick securities. If you want to learn more, reach out. You can go on the web and look for GuardAll or for Derek Ramsey and Google him. You Google the Sun, you'll end up Googling him. You find out, and you can inquire directly. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Stay with us. We have more right here in GNN. And this show will be back next week. Same time, same channel. Maraming salamat po.
You are what you watch.